All right, guys, we are live. Got Doug Rucker here, Jeffrey Blackman, and Ray Burke is here as well. Pat Clark couldn't make it; he's doing some type of training thing, of course. But Ray is sharing out this link into some groups, and the reason we're here is to talk about the upcoming Difference Makers business conference that's coming up February 6th and 7th right here in Houston. This is something that I've been doing for quite a few years. As a matter of fact, I think Ray and Pat, you both did, I think the first one with me several years ago
Yes,
here
sir.
in Houston. And then we did another one, I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. About every 3 to 4 years, us three try to get together. And then Jeffrey Blackman has been pretty much the mainstay the last 3 or 4. We've traveled some. And so, just to give the folks a little bit about what the Difference Makers Business Conference is, this is nothing about teaching you how to clean, teaching you how a downstream injector works, how to clean a roof, none of that. I do that on a monthly basis, have for 10 or 12 years. This is more for the business end of your business. And so we go through everything from starting out your business. I actually do a little mind mapping thing on how you start your business, everything that you need to take care of. Jeffrey does a thing on creating your vision, how to vision your company. Um, so we do. It's all about the business end of your business, commercial sales, high end residential sales. We actually have an accountant, a CPA, our CPA that comes in, and she talks about money matters. So she talks about P&L statements and balance sheets. We actually have a form that you will actually get to be able to participate in that helps you learn how to set your pricing according to your business, according to what you need to make, not based on what somebody tells you they charge in a Facebook group. Or, one of the biggest things I see, and it just drives me crazy, is how much should I charge for this? Or I got this job, what should I charge? Um, if you don't know that before opening your business, then you shouldn't be opening your business, basically. So we have a little thing, a step-by-step guide, form, whatever, that we actually go over with each person that attends. You actually get to take it home, and then you also get a digital version that is only for people that have attended the Difference Makers conferences. So that's really what this is all about. And tonight we're going to talk about a few of the topics that we're going to go over. And so, Ray, I know last time you talked about, and this time you're going to talk again about government contracts, how to get government contracts without giving the farm away. Just talk a little bit about that.
Well, absolutely, and I want to, you know, go a little bit of what you're talking about a little further down that rabbit hole. I've done whenever I opened Spray Wash, and we had just a wonderful success story, and got to work with my wife, and just incredibly blessed, with that experience in my life. But the washing is really the easy part of this business. I mean, the washing is ridiculously easy in this business. I've been blessed, that we kind of retired a little bit early, and sold, had after 10 years, we came in, got an unsolicited offer to buy our company, and didn't have to, and we sold it to one of the largest, companies in the nation. They wanted us partly on the strength of our government contracts that we had, really mainly because of the strength of some of the contracts that we had. And I've actually gone back. I've opened Southeast Drone Works, and I've gone back to work with them as a project manager. And I'm actually, I'm amazed at how much business I can do with them. And when I say project manager, I'm actually out there typically doing most jobs alone. Sometimes I have a helper. And I mean, me, myself, I've done right at $1 million this year in washing just by myself. And I'm not having to schedule the jobs. I'm not having to book the jobs. I'm not having to go out and buy materials. I'm not having to, let the bleach tanker, arrange for bleach to come in. I literally show up, look at my schedule. Hey, we have a job for you, and go do it, and I check off my safety list. I do my safety walk around at the property, and I go to town, relying on them to provide me the material and any help that I need. Right now, I'm on a several $100,000 caulking project for them, and I call them and say, okay, here's the supplies I'm going to need this week. Boom, a pallet of supplies shows up here. It's actually amazing how much work I've gotten done, about 7 figures in a 10-month period, not having to manage the business part. So the washing and the doing is honestly fairly easy. It's all the minutia that's in this. The workers' comp, the keeping ourselves legal, the paying our quarterly taxes, the how do we get the business? I mean, you can be the best washer in the world, but if nobody knows it and you're not out there competing for the business, then you're sitting there with nothing, guys, So really want to, focus on that and just say how important it is to get that back end of the house stuff done for your business, because again, anybody can go out and get a pressure washer and call themselves owning a pressure washing company. The hard part comes in is developing that pressure washing company.
Right. And Jeff, I know you'll agree with me on this. The key word Ray is saying there too is business. Okay. This is a business. If you're wanting to operate a business, I'm not talking about a side hustle or just something you go out on a weekend, that's all fine and good. But if you're looking to start and you're looking to build a business that is a legal entity, that is paying their taxes and is abiding by the laws of their area and their state and all of that plays into it, Jeff. That's why we are doing this, because a lot of this stuff just doesn't get taught much out in our industry, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, because I like to say it this way: it's different. It's a difference. It's a difference than running a business and then a hustle. Because when I'm my business, I mean, I have, like, if I go out for my striping company, if I go out and do one line, I have a flat rate. I'm not coming out there and do a job put a line down for $20. I have a flat rate because I'm running a business. I'm running a company, because I understand that my minimum cost is $550 if I come out and put one line down, because I have to pay an employee. I have to pay taxes. I have to pay for that bucket of paint. I have to pay for fuel and different things of that. So that's part of sitting down, counting the cost when you have a business versus a hustle. I'm not just going to try to, boom, I want to make this here lick or whatever they call it. I'm going to get this $20 lick. No, that's not running a business. That's hustling.
Correct.
That's right. A business. I had made a comment the other day in one of my forums, and I saw on a forum where somebody had said, and I think it was out in either Houston or the Dallas area, and a guy was talking about, I think I messed this up. I bid $2,000 on this driveway. And the customer told me that, the winning bid was actually, they get it done for about $750 a year. And then he said, then I went back and looked at the driveway and really, I was probably a little high. It was, should have been about $1,000. And sitting there, my initial thought of that is, boy, what a lost opportunity you have right there by not trying to connect with that customer and doing a Google bid. I mean, where I come from, any bid more than $500, and really any bid more than about $200 is meriting a personal connection with that person. And we're going to go out and, you know, when I'm pulling up that Google on their house and realizing this is a $1.5 million property right here, I'm gonna get out there and try to create a relationship with them. I'm going to get out there and walk that property, and we're going to maybe talk about the dirty windows and make sure that roof is in perfect condition. And I'm going to look for spider webs and you know, and I'm going to try to upsell stuff and make them absolutely love me and build this relationship there, instead of just being another number on an email out there, you know, generated by Responsibid or and I don't mean that in any negative way about, you know, House Call Pro or Responsibid, but I want me to stand out as the guy that came out there and walked the property with them.
Sure. That's absolutely, that's one of the most important things is how you stand out. One of the things I teach guys when they're doing those visits, take yourself a measuring wheel and measure. Even if you don't use those numbers or don't even look at it, I can guarantee you that the 2 other guys or 3 other guys that are coming out there are just walking around. They're just taking pictures, and that house has video cameras, and they're going to pull those video up and they're going to look and try to figure out, how does he come to this price? How much did he really look at? And then they see the guy running off a wheel saying, okay, he has some type of, you know, he's got a process to his pricing.
Right.
He's the only one that used that measuring wheel. It's not like he's just grabbing a number out of thin air type thing. So, and that's just a way to set yourself. That's just one of the ways to set yourself apart, other than, you know, being on time and being dressed professionally and all that kind of thing.
Right. And I used to go, I'd have 3-4 I mean, Tanya would, for those of y'all that don't know me, Tanya's my wife and my business partner, but man, I would go through, you know, 3 and 4 shirts a day. I'd get off in the early days. I'd get off the truck and I looked horrible, and I'd go and change shirts on the way over to the customer's house out there, and then I just want to be presentable, want to be just great looking, and that's so important to do, you know.
Right.
Yeah. And I think another thing too that it's kind of like what you said, Ray, about building those relationships. I teach that, and I like about this difference maker conference because it's part of, like we talk about straight business, is because, you know, you have a lot of guys, they want to go out there and get the $250 an hour, but you haven't built a business resume.
Right.
And that's showing the potential clients that you already have, you know, hey, the $1 million job coming, man. But, you know, you can't expect to get $1 million job when you don't have the right, I'm going to say, lineup for what it takes to get that job. Nobody's going to give you $1 million job if you don't have $1 million worth of workman's comp, or you don't have $1 million worth of insurance to cover what you're asking for. So that's what I love about the Difference Maker Conference, is that we show you not only talk about pricing, but we show you how to structure your business and how to line yourself up to get those government contracts or get those Fortune 500 companies like AutoZone, or going into, you know, hey, just the other day, based on a business resume with a relationship I have with a guy, you know, in Houston now, they building these Bojangles. So, hey, that just fell in my lap. We striping them. Right. So we started on the first one last week, but it was all based on just not the business resume, but it was the relationship that I had with another guy.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, contractors and other business people can be some of the best relationships we have, you know. And speaking, you know, that hourly rate, something we've always laughed about before and seen with guys and people doing their little, you know, victory laps and spiking the ball and talking about, man, I made $250 an hour today. And, you know, first off, I hate it when people are bragging online on these forums. Guys, if I can give y'all one piece of free unsolicited advice, stop bragging about what you're making, because honestly, you look like an idiot whenever you're doing it. I mean, I just know, I guarantee you there's always somebody out there making more than you, and there's always somebody out there making less than you. The guy that's making more than you is just laughing and they're not going to say anything. And the guy that's making less than you, you're just making them feel bad. And you know, also there's an old axiom that excess profits breeds excess competition. And I think we're seeing that in this industry, you know, and Jeffrey, even with striping, we're seeing that, I think. But you know, that what we see the guys saying, yeah, I made $250 an hour today. And it's like, oh, wow. So man, you know, 200 times 6, that's 1,800. So you made about $2,200 today, $2,100. Well, no, we made $500. We did one house, you know, it took us 2 hours. And it's like, dude, there's more than 2 hours in a day, bud. I mean, you know,
yeah,
we had 4 service trucks going out every day, you know, with spray wash. And this is, you know, 4 years ago. And if we didn't bring in at least $750 a day per truck, we felt that day was a failure, or that truck would not go out, and that job would get tacked on to a day where there was multiple jobs going on there. You can't. If you're not bringing in at least that $350, $400 a truck a day, you're really losing money in the long run. Or, you know, if you start looking at auto insurance and fuel and this and that. I know that 4 C notes might feel real good to a guy, but in the big scheme of things, it's not helping you out.
And it's not consistent.
It's not consistent at all.
And if it's not consistent, then all you did was just have a nice little, I don't know, a little payday is really all you had.
And again, this is the difference between having a hustle and literally nothing. I am the last guy in the world to ever sit there and say that there's anything wrong with having a hustle, because there's not. I respect it. I appreciate it. But then at everybody's point in your life, you have to understand, am I going to leave the hustle behind and turn the hustle into a whole business, or am I just going to keep doing the hustle and you know, have a job? And you know, I waste a lot of time on my hustle for several years, and then not waste. No. I don't mean that. That's the wrong word. I spend time on the hustle, but I'm never going to develop my hustle into a business out there. I'm never going to take my hustle into an actual physical, tangible thing that is a business, that is Doug Rucker's store, that is Jeffrey Blackman's, you know, striping company. It's not, because really and truly, if your business is just you don't really have a business. I mean, that's the truth of the matter right there. The gauge of your business is what happens whenever you leave your business. Do you still have income coming in?
right. And I think one of the things that I love about the difference maker conference that I teach about creating residual income through your business.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of the things we know, like January the first hit, damn, we know where we're going. We already scheduled out for the month of January, working into February. So with some of the shopping centers that we do quarterly, we do some monthly, and we do some bi-monthly. So our schedule is made out. Our schedule has been made out for 2025 and 2024. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things that I love teaching about, is how to create residual income in your business, because I can't speak for anybody else, but I love making money when I'm asleep. I love hearing my phone going off, you know, and I mean, I write books as well. You know, I have a product line. I have just not bragging, I mean, real estate. So I love how to show people how to create residual income, because I don't know about you, Mr. Ray and Doug. You know, I'm 54 and I can't see myself at the age of 60 behind a stripe machine. That's not my vision.
No.
My vision is to create residual income to where now my money is making money.
100%. 100%. I mean, there's, you know, and I typically do a larger style project. I'm not couldn't tell you the last time I did a house, honestly. This past weekend, I was at Florida State University doing a 7-story, building out there. And I was sitting there thinking, going, and again, I get compensated very well for what I do. I'm very blessed, but I got 5 years in me of doing what I do. I've got maybe 5 more years. This body will not continue on doing it. We were prepping for caulk this morning on an ongoing project that we're doing. Man, my fingers are still numb from this morning. It was so cold out there. I mean, again, it's not an old man's game. And if you're and I started washing when I was 40. I mean, hell, I'm working on my 3rd million right now because the first 2 didn't seem to pan out that well. But no, it's again, if you find yourself getting older, you've got to start thinking, and this is your thing. If you're Ray Burke pressure washing out there, you need to start either having and you're in your 40s, you need to either grow this into a business. You need to grow this into a business because it's amazing how fast your 50s come. And then at 60, it's going to be real tough to do the real good money-making opportunities out there.
And it's amazing too, Ray, the older you get, the less you are impressed, like you were saying a while ago, the less we get impressed by the guy that's posting that check or even the guy that's posting those before and after, but right. Because you get to a point where, you've done all that. And, right. And believe me, I used to be a guy that did it too. I mean, it felt great. I never posted checks or money I made, that's not something I would do. But as you get older, you start learning. It's like I'm hardly ever on Facebook anymore. It's simply because I just have more important things to do than hang out on social media. I check in every now and then and things of that nature. But I'm same boat, 4 or 5 years left. And then, right. So, but you're back to the original comment. You're 2 of the things you're going to talk about, I know, is government contracts. And then you're also going to talk about commercial properties, property managers. To talk about that a little bit.
Well, so when my company was purchased, we've got, and that was post 4 years ago. We're still as strong as we were whenever we were purchased based on the strength of the relationships we created many years ago out there. And those relationships are transferable to other owners as long as they're taken care of and as long as they're loved on. And as long as the service is as long as the expectations are not only met, but exceeded out there. I mean, I've got commercial projects that I'm still washing myself that predated the sale of my business that quite frankly have been, knock on wood, 15 years I've been at some of these projects on some of these things. I mean, I've had the enviable position of having, facility managers calling me and saying, "Hey, how do I access that rooftop up there?" Because I've actually been around that project more than they have, and it's kind of fun, whenever you're doing that. But again, that's the strength of the relationship building. That's the strength of commercial sales, and I still see this. I see it more and more with technology coming on here, and I mentioned this, early on in this conversation. People are using technology as such a crutch at this point anymore. And and it's getting worse. It's not getting better. People are forgetting about this personal relationship stuff. People are forgetting about, they're sitting there going, "Oh, well, I can Google this and I can look at the Google and get everything I need to know on that." And boy, people are just missing out whenever they're not in there talking about what's your needs, what do you want, why are you unhappy with your current pressure washing company? And obviously you've had this clean before. What's wrong? I mean, you have obviously there's yellow lines down here in the parking lot. You've had somebody, and I can see a repaint over that. What's calling them back? I'm just kind of curious. And is this a price base, or is this a you asking these questions of these people and just developing the relationships. I mean, half of success is just showing up. And I find so many of these guys now, they don't want to even just show up. They just want to use the Google machine and the House Call Pro and send it out. And whenever you start doing that, whenever you have a reliance on technology, newsflash, you're now competing on price.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And who wants to compete on price? Because typically speaking, whenever you start competing on price, low price is going to win.
Yeah.
Unless you can get out, meet people, differentiate the difference between you and service B, then you are just competing on price.
Well, man, I tell you what, the word you just said a while ago is relationships. And that's one of the things we'll be talking at the Difference Makers Conference too, about how to build, how to create and build these relationships. We had a property manager that referred us to another property manager. And she just started sending me, I need a quote for this little strip center. So before you knew it, within about a 3 or 4 week period, we had done, I don't know, probably 10 or 12 jobs for them, hadn't met them. And so jumped in my truck, went down to their office. I got there about 8 o'clock in the morning. And I could see, and I could tell by the emailing back and forth that she was in the office early. So I made a point to get there early, walked in. They were just absolutely blown away that I took the time to come down and thank them, for the business, introduce myself, talked to them for a little bit. All the other 2 other property managers came out, started getting work from them. And, but that's the part about building that relationship and not just sitting there behind the keyboard, answering and replying to emails and sending quotes off by email and then going out and doing a job and have never met your customer.
Right.
Right. And I want to say something about too, when Ray said about the lines on the ground. You want to know why, this is not free. One of the things that we implemented into our business, and we're stronger, we get stronger on it in 2025, is that now we're offering what is called, it's just a nugget I'm gonna drop out there. We're offering what is called a maintenance package. Mm-hmm. So what we're gonna do now is that, hey, the whole parking lot may not need to be striped, or the whole shopping center may not need to be washed. We're going to go to the high traffic areas. Maybe it's a Chick-fil-A on there. Maybe it's a Starbucks or a GameStop. Instead of trying to sell the whole shopping center, sell those partial parts. At the end of last year, we made a ton of money. We didn't focus on the front of the shopping center. We focused on the back side of it, where all the grease traps was, where all of the food and stuff is coming through the back side of the shopping centers that nobody's not seeing. But, like I said, we offer this maintenance package now that we're going to go in and we're going to maintenance 3 or 4 lines or whatever. And you'll be surprised the revenue you're going to bring in off just doing that, because now not only are you building that relationship with the client, but you're showing them that you have their best interest at heart.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Exactly.
100%. One of my very, very good friends and closest friends, Doug Gord, he was my teaching partner for years. And Doug developed a maintenance plan going, roof wash for life. I mean, I would guarantee your roof wash, lifetime warranty for the life of the roof on your roof wash on here. And the caveat to that was, you had to have your house washed every year. Annually, you had to have the house washed. Now, house washes weren't free. And the roof warranty wasn't necessarily free. There was still a fee associated with that. But we know that if we do a roof every year, we can probably keep that roof clean with certainly just a house wash mix on there. Not having to go out there and get nuclear with the chemical level, and not having to do crazy plant and property protection. So it's like, well, if you pay me to come and wash the house, I will go ahead and do the roof as well while I'm out there. And that part's free. And to maintain your warranty, you have to have this done. So he's taking that warranty work or service plan work and filling in slow times out there, his Februaries, he was like me, February being our slowest month out there, finding stuff to do and getting that residual income out there, to make that happen.
Absolutely.
When we sold our business, you were talking about the personal relationships in commercial marketing. I remember sitting there with the purchaser, and they said, well, obviously this pro forma that you've given us is incorrect here, because you've not spent any money on your marketing budget. So your marketing and advertising budget is only $5,000. And, you've only spent maybe $300 on Facebook and very little. And I said, well, I boost a post every now and then on Facebook, and literally it's for vanity. Whenever I do an exceptionally cool or tall building or a water tower, yeah, sure, I'm boosting that post because it's all about me. I want to feel good, And he's like, well, we run a $15 million company, and you're here at about $1.5 million, and we're 10 times the size here. So we figure, we're spending hundreds of $1,000s. We would expect those numbers being the same on there, that you'd be spending, $2,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 on marketing. So, why aren't you adding this expense? And I said, no, seriously, here's why. I said, of that $5,000 budget, I boost a post every now and then. And you want to know the other great part of that? $1,500 of that marketing budget that you see right there went to bundt cakes that we got from Nothing Bundt Cake, and just delivered them out to our key accounts out there, with Tanya dressed up as a Christmas elf and her sprinkling her special little sunshine on people. It's not about advertising. It's about these relationships. Yep. Do you know how much more business we got from her dressed as an elf, showing up and delivering bundt cakes to people? It was amazing. A better return than any Facebook or Google, thing. Whenever people rely on this internet advertising, at that point, you're basically fighting against who's going to outspend you. Who's got the greater spend? And there's always somebody that can outspend you.
Right.
Yeah.
So this marketing has a lot more to do with lunches and bundt cakes and pens and notepads, and what Tanya always called her butterfly marking, where you flit in and flit out, and just, you don't make a pest of yourself. It's just a butterfly encounter. It's a beautiful butterfly that comes fluttering in for just a moment, and then it's gone. It's just a moment in time, not, I want to sell you something. You've got to buy something. No. It's a butterfly. It's just a, oh wow, spray wash. We love those people. They're gone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just one of those little things that you're doing that builds that trust. Mm-hmm. And it builds that rapport, and it builds that relationship to where you're their guy.
Yeah. We got a guy for that.
Yeah, we got a guy for that. How many times do we hear that?
Yeah.
And there's a reason, and the reason is either because a relationship has been built, or they're just really, really cheap.
Right. Exactly.
We had an incident last week, and it's funny y'all said it, because we was watching the TPO roof, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had a company call me back based on the relationship. They said, hey, could you go back and date the invoice back to 12/31/24? I'm like, why? Well, we needed to get this money out of our budget, and we forgot to get it out of our budget. So go do the roof. But the only way you can do the roof, if you, they were just joking, go back and date the invoice 12/31. So we went back, dated 12/31, and guess what? Boom, based on that relationship,
Yeah.
we helped that client get that money out of their budget because they were going to lose it.
Yeah.
If they didn't use it. Mm-hmm. And my thing is, hey, guess what? I'm the man for the job.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. You need us to do that? We can do that. Yeah.
Well.
Mm-hmm. You know, because I tell you what, here's the irony of that is you're going to get taxed whenever you get the money in for it. It doesn't really matter to you as the business owner because that check's coming in 2025 already. You know, I mean, it's not like you got prepaid for the job. So You're not committing any kind of fraud whatsoever on there because you're going to pay taxes on that in 2025, not 2024, you know?
Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So again, this is the Difference Makers Business Conference that we're talking about coming up here in Houston. Pat Clark is going to be there. He's talking about high-end residential sales. He's also going to talk about building a team. Jeffrey will be there creating a residual and different streams of revenue, casting the vision. Ray will be there talking about government contracts, commercial, working with commercial property managers. And also you might bring the drone.
I'll probably bring my drone as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
so he's probably going to bring his drone and do a demo with that and talk about that. I also may have a property manager that's coming, waiting to get confirmation from him. One of the property managers we do work for has come and talked a couple of times at our Difference Makers Conference. So trying to see if his schedule is going to allow him to do that. But that's coming up February 6th and 7th. You can see on the screen, pressurewashingschool.com/events. What else, guys? What else can we share with them?
Hey, I tell you what I am excited about is that the end of it, I'm going to do something different this year. And my never give up. And I'm going to share with people on how to never give up. At my lowest point in life in 2005, I was homeless, sleeping under a bridge in New Orleans, Louisiana, using a bottle of water to wash my face, the same bottle, to heat up a MRE, and also preserve something to wash under my own. How I went from under the bridge to writing books.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
You can win if you don't quit. No matter what your situation or circumstances is, you are a winner, and there is a winner in you.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. You don't want to miss that. I mean, that's just worth the whole thing.
That's amazing. I mean, that's pretty. That's some powerful stuff right there, Jeff. That's you know, we weren't quite that rough, but when we started in 2009. I had literally given back properties in 3 states. We got beat by that Great Recession. We were about to lose the house, our own personal house, but gave back a bunch of stuff. And I took my last couple of $100 and literally went to a big box store and bought myself 2.8 gallons a minute of pressure washing power and started beating on people's doors saying, "Can I please do your driveway?" For about $50 a pop. And then after about 6 months of doing that, I'm like, this sucks. It's got to be a better way. So, you know, and golly, you know, I met some amazing people in this industry. And in fact, Doug's one of those people that I met and just changed my life. You know, it really did change my life. And you know, went from a guy that, you know, didn't have a lot of prospects to an employer. And that was one of the things that made me the happiest, that we were able to actually bless other people and give them jobs and good jobs too. You know, I mean, this is, I know we had during the Great Reset that we had in 2021, but so these numbers are a little bit skewed. But we had project managers that were making between $60,000 and $80,000 a year working for us, which 4 years ago that was a great salary. Pre-COVID, you were in nobody was paying guys money like that to be a crew leader out there, but they were just killing it, and we were doing well, and that was one of my proudest moments, that we were paying a much better than livable wage out there, and we were able to bless these other people and create a team around us, and have these guys, multiple crew leaders being able to provide for their family. Had one guy, his wife didn't have to. He's like, I never thought I'd be making this much money. My wife doesn't have to work. She was able to quit her job, and they were able to stay home with the baby. It was wonderful.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm. And that's where I get really proud about, what Tanya and I did.
That's good stuff.
And then Pat Clark has kind of a similar story.
Yeah, no, Pat, my story. Pat's better at it than I am, but heck, his and you look at Pat, and Pat's just so dang lovable. And Pat will be one of the first ones to, on the high end residential, mirrors a lot of what I says on the commercial. It's about building these relationships. He's not going to some house and tossing out a Google bid. No.
Right.
He's out there. You're going to meet Pat, or you're going to meet one of Pat's guys, and one of Pat's guys is going to be just as lovable as Pat's going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's a system to what they're doing. There's a process to what they're doing. And that's what he, sitting at the table.
Yeah.
That's part of the process, of building that relationship with those type of clients, just sitting at the table, or the property manager sitting across the desk from them, talking.
Showing up in a clean vehicle, showing up showing up presentable yourself, showing up, not smelling like yesterday's beer.
Exactly.
It's true though. It's real. That's real stuff.
Hours ago's beer.
Yeah. It's gosh, and it's so funny. So much of what we talk about seems like common sense to us, and I hate to say it, but there's people out there that need to hear this. There's people out there that need to say, I'll never forget meeting with a customer, and they sent we were doing a package of bids on garages for the state of Florida. And I remember the facilities guy talking to me, and he was talking to another guy that I had actually invited to bid, because he told me he needed 3 bids. So one of my very close friends, who wound up getting some of the jobs, we said we would share this because it was more than any one of us could handle. And they had another guy there bidding too, and sent him a salesperson out there who turned out to be the owner of the company. And I remember the facilities guy looking at me going, well, I'll tell you what, most likely it's going to be between you two, because nobody who's ever worn shoes that nice has ever actually used a pressure washer.
Right.
And, part of that is knowing your customer as well too. And I'm not going to show up in a pair of rattlesnake or ostrich boots whenever I'm working with a $50,000, $60,000 a year facilities manager for the state of Florida. Somebody that's underpaid for a civil servant for the amount of work that they do. You don't want to go in there and I'm not going to wear a gold bracelet. I'm not going to wear a chain and things like that. And these are all things to think about whenever you're staging yourself for the customer that you're dealing with. Now, whenever you're doing high-end residential, yeah, it might be okay to wear a tasteful gold chain or a nice bracelet or some nicer slacks and to let people know that you're the salesperson. You're not going to be the person that's pushing the pressure washer along on here. You're the person that's the coordinator and the person that's going to be inking this deal, and you're going to be their point of contact for any problems. again, a little bit different, but you have to understand the difference between what those customers are expecting in their point of contact.
Right. And I think that piggyback off what you're saying, that has a lot to do with your vision for your company.
Mm-hmm.
What is your vision? Because I mean, it's a map. It's a guide to success. But on that vision board, what are you putting on there? Are you putting on there what type of employees you want to hire?
Right.
Or what kind of trucks you want to have? Or this here. Because my wife says all the time, Jeffrey, you get your hair cut twice a week. And I say, well, the reason I get my hair cut twice a week is because I want to always look presentable.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm going in front of people, I'm talking to people. And a lot of guys don't understand that appearance has a lot to do with who you are.
Okay.
It's just a reflection of your company. And I try by all means, to stay presentable at all times, especially when I'm going into these Fortune 500 companies.
Yeah.
Because people will do business with you based on who you are, and they won't do business with you based on who you are.
100%. I mean, we're very, the nonverbal communication and the nonverbal cues that we send out to potential prospects, let's not even call them customers, but prospects, is absolutely huge. And we need to understand that, we need to understand even little things like body mirroring and how to relate to people and how to speak to people. In fact, that's becoming a lost art right here with a lot of this younger people. Yeah. That they're, for the last 20 years, they're doing this the whole time. I mean, they can communicate, they can text like a mother, but they can't actually sit here face to face and talk to you. They cannot have intrapersonal communication with anybody out there. And that's becoming a lost art.
Right. I want to say one more thing that y'all take back over is that too, that these big high-end companies, they're watching your Facebook pages.
Oh, yeah.
They're watching your social media pages.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we teach at the Different Makers Conference is about not connecting your personal page with your business page. Because when I go on your business page, I'm looking for a service, not to see you getting plastered.
Mm-hmm.
Or doing this, because now that's sending out a message to me. Do I really, even though I don't have anything to do with your business once you offer your business, but I still don't want to mix my personal page, my personal business with my business.
100%. I mean,
that makes sense.
Yeah, and my personal page is my business page, and I've got this wonderful little 5'1" gatekeeper that watches everything that I do, and she'll call me every now and then, and she's like, "So let me ask you a question," and I was like, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Would you want Mr. Johnson, who's a long-term customer of ours, to see that sick, disgusting meme that you just posted on your Facebook page?" And I was like, no. She's like, "Then why do you have it on your Facebook page?" And I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right. So I carry a lot of my more risque humor now. I made a little private, a humor group for that, not to do that. Keep your politics off your business page. Keep your nastiness, your sex stuff off your business page. You know what? Keep it off. Be professional on your business page. That's what you need to be.
All right. Before we close this out, Ray, and what you were talking about before that, the lost art. I just want to say real quick, another lost art with going along with what you're talking about with property managers, customers, anybody, listening, being a good listener, not interrupting your client because you're trying so hard to get your information out and impress them and all that. If I can ever say, just a couple of things about sales and relationship building is number one, let them talk. and you listen. Okay. And number two, don't ever interrupt them thinking you're trying to get your point out. Or, you know, what I see a lot of people do is they're trying to impress the customer by
how much they know,
by finishing their statement.
right?
Like they know what they're going to say, and they think that's when somebody does that to me, it's just an automatic.
Yeah. Like what I just did to you right there.
Yeah. I'm almost done with you,
right.
You know, because I want to say, you want to finish everything else I'm going to say?
Yeah.
You know, so being a good listener, man, we talk about that a lot at the conference as well.
You know, this whole saying, you know, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, and that means we should listen twice as much as we talk.
Exactly.
You know, and there's some, and Doug, you really hit it right. I mean, we want to impress them with how much we know, but you can sometimes talk yourself right out of a sale by knowing too much, you know.
And you want to impress them with how much they need to know,
right?
Not how much I know. So you know, listen. If you listen to their questions and answer their questions in an educational, not sales pitchy type way, and not run on and carry on. And back in 1975, we had this big old job where we went out there and we had us 2 lifts and we had 400 feet of hose and we wrapped that thing building up in 2 hours. That's not what they want to hear.
Right.
They want to hear,
And another thing I've learned, I've seen, and I've had clients tell me this, and I'm going to make this statement, is that you'll never build your business by tearing another man's business down.
Exactly.
When I'm saying that is that you're going out there to that potential client talking about another company. Oh, they can't do this right. They're going to jack this or they mess this up or this. No. What do you think you putting in the ear of that client? You're really showing them integrity issues.
Right. You don't ever badmouth your competition. You know, don't ever go out there and badmouth guys, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, for example, you know, us talking about talking too much, we're going to sit there and say that so many guys go out there and say, you know, we're going to use the sodium hypochlorite solution to kill the mold, algae, and mildew, you know, on your property. And, you know, why are you telling people that? Because they could have had a horrible experience. The last guy that came out there may have killed every bit of their landscaping. And if they even hear the term sodium hypochlorite again, they're going to automatically discount you. You know, ask them. You're asking them. Okay, well, obviously, who's cleaned your house before? Who's been handling this service out there? Could I ask why you're not using them again? Well, as a matter of fact, all of our roses died last time they were here. Okay, well, that ought to trigger you something right there. But if you want to talk about how smart you are and not listen to what they're saying, you could wind up saying something to really alienate.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Because somewhere in that conversation, they're going to mention what their hot spot is.
Yeah.
And you can go out there and clean a whole building or the parking lot or whatever. But if you don't take care of that little hot spot they're talking about, it's as if you didn't clean anything.
That's right.
I've had that happen before.
Yep.
So,
right.
All right, guys. I appreciate y'all joining us. We're going to
get
here. It's been almost an hour. Wow.
Time flies.
Yeah. So don't forget registration at pressurewashingschool.com/events. And we do have an early registration going on till I think January 15th. And then after that, it goes up. So, Ray, take us out of here, man.
Guys, thank y'all. You know, we sure look forward to seeing y'all there. Had such a good time. You know, the first time we did this, I look forward to it. It really is a passion of mine that I have, is teaching in the industry. And and the relationships with washers that I wind up developing out there, nothing does my heart as good as seeing people be successful with something they're passionate about.
Absolutely.
And I love it. I absolutely love it.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank y'all. We'll be talking again soon.
All right.
Y'all be blessed.
All right.
Y'all have a good night.
Until next time.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right.